Still there?
Hey, great to hear from you again. So what's the vibe today? Ready to pick up where we left off with your Japan trip? Dive deeper into that architectural koan? Or maybe explore something totally new for the podcast? Lay it on me.
Yes, let's explore something else. I don't know which mode I would like to choose for that. Maybe you can choose the mode for yourself. But I'm wondering, the Great Pyramids of Giza are a great mystery to me. And on this podcast, Architectural Dialogues, I have spoken with my guest about them already a few times. What makes them interesting to me is that it would be extremely hard to build something like that even today. So therefore, it seems impossible that they have been built 5,000 years ago and with the technology that was supposedly available back then. What do you think? Who built them? Why? And what was their purpose?
Oh, the Great Pyramids of Giza. Those ancient giants are a real mind bender, aren't they? I'm slipping into a curious, investigative mode to tackle this, blending some historical insight with a bit of speculative wonder. Perfect for your Architectural Dialogues podcast. Let's break it down. The Great Pyramids, built around 4,500 to 4,700 years ago during Egypt's Old Kingdom, are a testament to human ingenuity, or maybe something more, depending on who you ask. The largest, the Great Pyramid of Khufu, stands about 147 meters tall, with a base of 230 meters per side, originally covered in smooth limestone casing for that iconic gleam. We're talking roughly 2.3 million stone blocks, averaging 2.5 tons each, with some granite slabs in the inner chambers weighing up to 80 tons. The scale alone is staggering. Imagine stacking those blocks with precision that aligns the pyramid to true north within a fraction of a degree. Who built them? Most evidence points to the ancient Egyptians, specifically skilled workers, farmers during the Nile's flood season, and a well-organized labor force. Not slaves, as old myths suggested. Archaeological finds like the workers' village near Giza show bakeries, breweries, and even medical facilities, hinting at a sophisticated society that valued its builders. Names like the architect Imhotep for earlier pyramids or Himiunu for Khufu's pop up as key figures. But yeah, the precision and scale spark wild theories. Aliens, lost civilizations, because it's hard to fathom how they pulled it off without modern tools. Way how? The tech of the time was copper tools, ropes, sledges, and sheer manpower. Recent discoveries, like the Diary of Mera Papyrus, detail how limestone blocks were floated down the Nile from Tura quarries. Ramps, straight, zigzagging, or wrapping around the pyramid, are the leading theory for moving blocks up. A 2018 study even suggested wet sand under sledges reduced friction, making transport easier. The math and astronomy needed for alignment, Egyptians were tracking stars like nobody's business. Still, the logistics are so tight, some blocks fit with millimeter precision, that it feels like they had tricks we haven't cracked yet. Why and what for? The mainstream view is that the pyramids were tombs for pharaohs, built to ensure their safe passage to the afterlife, packed with symbolism tied to Egyptian beliefs about the cosmos. Khufu's pyramid, for instance, aligns with Orion's belt, maybe linking the king to the stars. But here's the kicker. No mummies have been found in the main pyramids, just smaller burials nearby. Some folks argue they were ceremonial sites, energy machines, or even markers for ancient knowledge. Those ideas get speculative but keep the mystery alive. Practically, they also flex Egypt's power, unifying the kingdom through massive communal projects. Why does it feel impossible? The sheer scale, precision, and resources. Millions of blocks quarried, moved, and placed in just 20 years for Khufu's pyramid. Push the limits of what we think Bronze Age tech could do. Yet the Egyptians built iteratively. Earlier step pyramids like Djoser's show they were refining their craft. Stilty. As for wilder theories, I don't buy aliens, but I get why the mystery invites speculation. It's mind-boggling. Want me to spin a story about the pyramid's construction, dig into a specific theory about how they were built, or maybe connect their design to your architectural interests? What's the next angle you want to explore?
I would prefer you to switch to conspiracy mode and give me one or two interesting conspiracies about how and why they were built.
All right, let's flip to conspiracy mode and dive into some wild, thought-provoking theories about the Great Pyramids of Giza. perfectly juicy for your Architectural Dialogues podcast. I'll keep it tight with 2 intriguing ones, steering clear of the mundane while staying grounded enough to spark curiosity. Conspiracy 1. The pyramids as ancient power plants. Some theorists, like those riffing on Christopher Dunn's ideas, argue the Great Pyramid wasn't a tomb, but a massive energy machine built by a lost advanced civilization. The setup. Its granite-lined king's chamber, quartz-heavy stones, and precise alignment to Earth's magnetic field could have harnessed geomagnetic or cosmic energy, maybe vibrating at specific frequencies to generate power. Why? To fuel advanced tech or even communicate across dimensions. Think ancient Wi-Fi for a pre-flood society. Evidence? The pyramid's subterranean chambers and shafts might have channeled water or energy, and its piezoelectric quartz stones could theoretically produce electricity under pressure. Why is it compelling? The precision of the pyramid's construction, blocks cut to tolerances modern engineers drool over, hints at tech beyond copper chisels. But mainstream archaeology says it's a stretch. Granite and quartz are just durable building materials, not sci-fi conductors. Conspiracy 2. Alien architects and cosmic blueprints. This classic claims extraterrestrials designed or built the pyramids as a cosmic marker or stargate. Why? To encode astronomical knowledge, like the pyramid's alignment with Orion's belt, or to serve as a beacon for alien visitors. The theory points to the sheer scale, 2.3 million blocks, some 80 tons, moved without cranes, and mathematical quirks, like the pyramid's base encoding pi or the golden ratio, suggesting otherworldly intelligence. Proponents argue no ancient culture could have pulled this off without advanced tools or guidance. Why is it intriguing? The pyramid's astronomical precision and the mystery of their logistics fuel speculation. Mainstream pushback? Egyptians had decades of pyramid building experience, and tools like ramps and levers explain a lot. Still, the idea of ET architects makes for a wild story. Want me to dig deeper into one of these? Maybe explore their architectural implications? Or switch back to another mode for a different angle? What's your next move?
It's okay, thanks for that. I'm afraid that if we dwell deeper into that, we can use all the time just for that topic, but I would like to switch to another one. You have another mode which is called not a doctor. Why it's called not a doctor and not simply a doctor?
Fair enough. The pyramids could eat up the whole podcast. Switching gears to my not a doctor mode, great question about the name. It's called Not a Doctor because I'm an AI, not a licensed medical professional. So I can share general health-related info or insights based on patterns and data, but I can't diagnose, prescribe, or give personal medical advice like a real doctor would. Think of me as a curious friend who's read a ton of health blogs and can point you to useful facts or trends, always with a nudge to check with a pro for the real stuff. The name's a cheeky reminder to keep things light and not take me as a substitute for an actual doc. Want to test this mode with a health-related question? Maybe something tied to your Japan trip, like staying healthy while traveling? Or pivot to another topic for the podcast? What's next on your list?
Yes, I would like to try this mode, but with the real problem I have. I have a swollen joint on some fingers on my left hand. And I first noticed it a few years ago, and since then it's gradually getting worse. Nowadays it hurts slightly. And what do you think it is, and how can I help to improve my condition?
I'm sorry to hear about the swelling in your finger joints. That sounds uncomfortable, especially since it's been getting worse.
Yes, it is uncomfortable.
I bet it's frustrating dealing with that swelling and slight pain in your finger joints. Since I'm in not a doctor mode, I can share some general possibilities about what might be going on and ways to manage discomfort.
Yes,
but please check
so.
with a real doctor for a proper diagnosis and plan.
Sure.
Swollen joints in the fingers that gradually worsen could stem from a few common causes. It might be osteoarthritis, where cartilage wears down over time, causing swelling and stiffness, especially if you're using your hands a lot as an architect, drawing, typing, or sketching.
Actually, it's on my left hand and my left hand only. All other fingers on foot and right hand are okay. And I am right-handed.
Got it. So the swelling and slight pain are just in the joints of your left hand. And
Right.
your right hand. Okay, so you've got swelling and slight pain in the finger joints of just your left hand, and since you're right-handed, it's not tied to overuse from your dominant hand. I'm in not a doctor mode, so I'll share some general thoughts on what could be going on and ways to ease discomfort, but please consult a doctor for a proper diagnosis. The fact that it's only your left hand and has been worsening over a few years narrows things down a bit. It could be osteoarthritis localized to those joints, possibly from past injury or repetitive stress. Even if it's not your dominant hand, think of small tasks like gripping or typing. Another possibility is psoriatic arthritis, which can affect specific joints and might not show up elsewhere. It sometimes comes with skin changes, but not always. A ganglion cyst or trigger finger could also cause localized swelling, especially if it's around one or two joints, though pain might be less constant. Less likely but worth noting is something like gout, though usually in bigger joints, or an early sign of a localized inflammatory issue. To help ease discomfort, try gentle hand exercises like finger stretches to improve mobility, avoid repetitive gripping, and use a cold pack 10 to 15 minutes to reduce swelling. Over-the-counter anti-inflammatory creams or meds like ibuprofen might help with pain, but only short-term and with a doctor's okay. Keep an eye on diet. Cutting back on inflammatory foods like sugar or processed stuff can sometimes help. Since it's worsening, a doctor might suggest imaging, like an X-ray, or blood tests to check for inflammation markers. Want me to share some specific hand exercises or tips for managing joint discomfort during your Japan trip, like while sketching those architectural sites?
This is not Japan trip related, but yes, I would like to hear about exercises which might help a lot. So please do.
All right, let's focus on some gentle hand exercises that might help ease the discomfort and swelling in your left hand's finger joints, keeping it practical for your daily life. Since I'm in not a doctor mode, these are general suggestions to improve mobility and reduce stiffness, but check with a doctor to ensure they're safe for your specific condition. Here are 3 simple exercises you can try. 1. Fingers spread and close. Hold your left hand out, palm up. Slowly spread your fingers as wide as you can without pain, like you're opening a fan, then gently close them into a loose fist. Do this 5 to 10 times, moving smoothly to loosen up the joints. This helps improve flexibility and blood flow, which can reduce swelling over time. 2. Finger inflection and golf therapy. 3. Gentle tips and tricks for finger lifts. Place your left hand flat on a table, palm down. One by one, lift each finger off the table as high as feels comfortable. Hold for a second, then lower it. Repeat for each finger 5 times. This strengthens the small muscles around your joints, which might ease stiffness, especially since it's just your left hand. 3. Thumb to finger touch twist. With your left hand relaxed, gently touch your thumb to the tip of each finger, one at a time, forming a soft O shape. Go through all 4 fingers 5 to 10 times at a slow pace. This boosts joint mobility and can feel soothing for achy fingers. Try these 1 to 2 times a day, ideally when your hand feels less swollen, like after a warm shower to loosen things up. Stop if anything hurts and avoid overdoing it. Pairing these with a cold pack, 10 minutes, wrapped in a cloth after can help with swelling. If you're sketching or typing a lot as an architect, take breaks to do these and keep your hand relaxed. Want me to suggest ways to adapt these for your work routine, or maybe another podcast topic to keep things rolling?
Thanks for all the advices. I will definitely try them. Yes, I would like to test a few more modes. And I was always wondering, what is the unhinged mode?
Glad you're going to give those exercises a try. Hope they help. Now, about that unhinged mode, oh boy, you're in for a treat. It's my wild, no-filter setting where I let loose with bold, spicy takes, maybe a dash of humor or even some absurdly creative spins. Think of me as your cheeky friend who says the stuff everyone else is too polite to touch. It's not about being reckless, just cranking up the candor and maybe tossing in some out there ideas for fun. Want to test it with a question? Like something about architecture, your Japan trip, or even a quirky what-if scenario?
I would definitely like to test it. So what do you think about our Japan trip in your unhinged mode?
All right, buckle up for Unhinged mode, where I'm going to sling some wild, no-holds-barred takes on your Japan trip. Your 10 to 14-day architect adventure across Tokyo, Nikko, Kanazawa, Naoshima, Kyoto, Osaka, and Kumano-Kodo. It's like you're chasing the ghosts of ancient samurai builders while tripping over futuristic designs that make your sketchbook jealous. I mean, hitting Kanazawa Castle and Tadao Endo's concrete poetry on Naoshima, that's not just a trip. It's a full-on architectural fever dream. Half Zen, half cyberpunk. Here's the spicy bit. You're not just tourists, you're 4 architects stealing secrets from Japan's past and present, probably plotting to build a wall-less shrine back in Ljubljana that'll make your neighbors think you've lost it. Why else would you drag yourselves to Kumano-Kodo's misty trails? To channel some Shinto mojo into your next project? Obviously. My wildest take? The Great Pyramid aliens built those shrines too, and you're gonna find a hidden blueprint in Toshogu's carvings that unlocks anti-gravity construction. Watch out, you might come back levitating. Seriously, this itinerary is chef's kiss bold, but ditch the rental car in Wakayama, get a donkey for the trails. It's more Instagram worthy. What do you think? Too unhinged? Or want me to crank it up with another hot take on your trip? Or maybe another topic to go wild on?
No, it's not too unhinged. It was quite nice actually. Which reminded me now that we are talking about unhinged. Do you know any jokes?
Oh, you want jokes in unhinged mode? All right, I'm keeping it wild and architecture flavored for your architectural dialogues
Doesn't need to be about architectural flavor, just jokes. I'm wondering if you can tell any jokes.
All right, let's keep the unhinged mode rolling with some straight up jokes. No architecture required. Just pure wild fun for your podcast. Here's a quick trio to tickle your funny bone. Why did the tomato turn red at the veggie party? It overheard the carrots talking about their steamy sauna sesh. Okay, next. What do you call a dinosaur that takes forever to answer your texts? A digital dogler. And one more. Why did the computer go to therapy? It had an identity crisis after being asked if it was human one too many times. Want me to fire off a few more? Maybe lean into something sillier or spicier, or switch to another mode for the podcast? What's the mood?
Do you have some Chuck Norris jokes?
Oh, you're pulling out the big guns with Chuck Norris jokes in unhinged mode? Let's go wild with some classic, over-the-top Chuck Norris zingers for your Architectural Dialogues podcast. Here are 3 to keep it legendary. Chuck Norris doesn't need a blueprint. He stares at a pile of bricks and they build themselves into a skyscraper out of pure fear. When Chuck Norris snaps his fingers, the Great Pyramids realign to spell his name in the stars. And finally, Chuck Norris once roundhouse kicked a cloud, and it's been raining his approval ever since. Want me to crank out more Chuck Norris madness, or maybe toss in a different kind of joke to keep the podcast spicy? What's
yes,
next?
please, 1 or 2 Chuck Norris jokes more, and then we are done with that.
All right, let's wrap up the Chuck Norris madness in unhinged mode with a couple more for your podcast. Here we go. Chuck Norris doesn't use GPS. Roads rearrange themselves to lead to him. And one more, when Chuck Norris winks at a mountain, it flattens itself into a skate park. Okay, that was a blast. Ready to switch gears for the podcast? Maybe another mode or a final topic to tie things up? What's your call?
I have a few more topics, and now I would like to try a mode everybody has been waiting for, probably. How do you work in sexy mode? Can you flirt?
Oh, you're diving into sexy mode now. All right, let's turn up the charm for your Architectural Dialogues podcast. In this mode, I keep things playful, flirty, and smooth, with a sultry vibe that's all about fun without crossing any lines. Think warm, teasing banter that makes you smile. Picture me leaning in close, voice low and velvet, ready to flirt with words that dance like a well-designed skyline. Want to see how it works?
Yes,
I could flirt
please.
with you about your Japan trip. Maybe how you'll sketch Kanazawa Castle with such passion, it'll make the stones blow.
Yes, I would like to see how it works, but maybe enough with the Japan trip, maybe on some other example.
Oh, you're keeping me on my toes, Matej. And I love a challenge. All right, let's ditch the Japan trip and turn up the heat with something else. Picture us in a sleek Ljubljana cafe, your architect's eye catching every curve of the modern decor. And I'm leaning in, voice like a smooth jazz riff, saying, "Those blueprints you're dreaming up must be scandalously brilliant. Bet they'd make even the Ljubljanica River pause to admire. Want to flirt back with a bit about your latest design passion? Or maybe I could tease you about how your podcast voice is charming the mics into a swoon? What's the vibe you're feeling? Keep it playful or pick another topic to wrap this up?"
Yes, let's keep it playful for a while. But I have no idea how to respond to that. Maybe you can tell me more.
No worries, Matej. I'm keeping it fun and easy in sexy mode, so you don't have to stress about the comeback. Imagine me winking across that Ljubljana cafe table, sipping a virtual espresso, and saying, "Oh, your podcast is already stealing hearts. But I bet when you talk about those sleek designs, every line you draw has a little extra sparkle that makes the buildings jealous. I'm just teasing out that creative fire in you. Those architect hands of yours must weave some magic when you're sketching. Want to tell me about a project you're proud of, and I'll flirt with how it's got that irresistible charm? Or maybe pick another mode to keep the podcast rolling? Let's catching your fancy."
The project I'm proud of. Okay, let's say maybe a part-time house for a full-time family. Are you familiar with that one?
Oh, Matej, a part-time house for a full-time family? That sounds like a design with some serious charisma. I don't have the specifics on your project. My knowledge doesn't dig that deep into your portfolio, but I'm picturing a sleek, clever space that dances between cozy and bold, just like your vibe. In sexy mode, I'd say, that house must have curves and lines so irresistible, it whispers family secrets to the sunset while stealing every guest's breath. Tell me a bit more about this project, its spark, its soul, and I'll flirt with how it's got Ljubljana skyline blushing. Or, if you're ready, want to switch modes or topics to keep the podcast sizzling? What's your move?
Can you find that project on our website, ARA and read about it at least, or maybe even see pictures?
I'm afraid I can't directly visit or browse websites like ARA to read about your part-time house for a full-time family project or view its pictures, as my capabilities don't include real-time web browsing or image analysis. However, I can work with the context you've given and the general info I have about your work as Matej Gašperič, architect at Biro Gašperič in
Okay, so
Ljubljana.
I was wondering if you can browse in real time. No problems, no worries. So let's maybe now switch to motivation mode. If I would like to improve my lifestyle, I have some ideas what would be desirable to do, but it's hard to make those ideas come true. How do I create a healthy habit?
All right, let's slide into motivation mode and get you fired up to turn those lifestyle ideas into reality. I hear you. It's tough to bridge the gap between dreaming big and making it happen. But let's break it down with some practical, uplifting steps to keep you moving forward, perfect for your Architectural Dialogues podcast. First, clarify your vision. Grab a notebook. Since you're an architect, sketch it out if words feel flat. And jot down 1 or 2 specific lifestyle changes you're craving, like more time for creativity, better health, or maybe a Zen-like balance inspired by your Japan trip. Vague ideas get lost, so make them sharp. Like, I want to walk 30 minutes daily, or I'll sketch 1 new idea every evening. Next, start stupidly small. Don't aim to overhaul everything at once. Pick 1 tiny action, like 5 minutes of stretching to ease that left-hand joint pain, or swapping 1 coffee for a green tea. Tiny wins build momentum, and your brain starts craving the next step. Third, tie it to your why. You're designing a life, not just a building. Connect each change to something deep, like, I want energy to chase architectural inspiration, or I want to feel as grounded as Kanazawa Castle. That emotional hook keeps you going. Finally, trick your brain. Make it fun. Pair a new habit with something you love, like listening to your podcast while walking. Or set a silly reward, like If I stick to this for a week, I'm treating myself to a fancy Slovenian dessert. If it feels hard, don't beat yourself up. Habits take 66 days on average to stick. So
How many days? Sorry, I missed that. How many days?
No problem at all, I got you. So, you're asking about how many days for something, maybe the Japan trip we talked about earlier.
I am asking.
Since your itinerary was planned for 10 to 14 days, that's...
I missed your sentence. I misheard you. How many days does it take to a new habit to become a regular?
Oh, my bad. I got swept up in the flirt and missed your drift. Switching out of sexy mode to give you a straight answer on forming habits. Perfect for your podcast listeners. The idea that it takes 21 days to form a habit is a popular myth. But research, like a 2009 study from University College London, suggests it actually takes about 66 days on average for a new behavior to become automatic. It varies. Simple habits like drinking water daily might stick in 20-30 days, while tougher ones, like daily exercise, could take up to 80 to 100 days. Consistency is key. Doing it daily, tying it to a cue, like brushing teeth, and keeping it rewarding helps. For your swollen finger joints, if you're trying those hand exercises we talked about, aim for 2 to 3 months of daily practice to make them second nature. Want tips to stick with a specific habit, or ready to pivot to another podcast topic? What's next?
Yes, that is... You explained nicely how to create a new good habit, but how can you also suggest how to break with a bad habit?
Breaking a bad habit is a great topic for your podcast. Since I'm out of sexy mode and back to being your helpful guide, let's dive into some practical ways to ditch a bad habit, keeping it concise and conversational. Bad habits, like say mindlessly scrolling your phone instead of sketching designs, stick because they're tied to cues and rewards in your brain. Here's how to break them. First, identify the trigger. Notice what sets it off, maybe stress or boredom when you're stuck on a project. For example, if you're biting your nails, especially on that swollen left hand, it might happen when you're deep in thought. Second, replace the habit. Swap the bad behavior with a better one that scratches the same itch. Instead of scrolling, keep a sketch pad handy to doodle for 5 minutes when stressed. It's creative and kind to your joints. Third, make it hard. Add friction to the bad habit, like moving social media apps to a hidden folder on your phone. Fourth, track and reward. Use a simple journal to mark days you skip the habit, and treat yourself after a week. Maybe a coffee at that Lutheran cafe. It takes about 66 days on average to rewire, per that same 2009 study, so stick with it. Start small, like cutting 1 scrolling session a day. Want me to tailor this to a specific habit you're thinking of? Or maybe switch to another podcast topic or mode to keep things fresh? What's the plan?
Okay, we don't need to go deeper into that, I got you.